It sucked. With Sean. What up, tribe? Answering another Hey Sean question, this time getting to the heart of the matter. Everybody wants to know, what's it like going from the experienced and learned RN to the don't know jack nurse practitioner? And I'm here to tell you that it'd be a tractor going down the road, just messing up my Sir, come on. Anyway, back to the question at hand. Everybody wants to know what it's like to transition from experienced to novice, and I'm here to enlighten you. Maybe others haven't explained this to you, but it's fucking hard. You begin to question everything you've ever learned. You think that your experience as an RN is going to help you because being a nurse practitioner, an advanced practice nurse, you're advancing your practice, so therefore you're building upon knowledge that, stuff you already knew, stuff you already know, stuff you already been doing. So becoming a nurse practitioner is just taking the next step, and that it should be a controlled transition, and it's far from that. I mean, you literally, it's just like nursing school. Like, you graduate nursing school, you start your nursing job, and you realize, no, you don't know nothing. You don't know jack. Everything that you've learned in school, you think you know. No. The learning is just starting. And it's not that we're dumb, or that you don't know things, or that you're not educated, you're not smart, you're not capable. It's that you are transitioning to an entirely different frame of mind, an entirely different way of thinking. And it's not something, it's hard to describe. You have to go from the nursing world to the medicine world. And while those two worlds are symbiotic and synergistic when it comes to taking care of our patients, they approach things from two very different perspectives, and it takes you a long time to get out of the nurse brain and get into the provider brain. The nurse brain never leaves you. I'm in my 8th year, and I can tell you that it doesn't leave you. It's not like you forget how to be a nurse or forget how to think like a nurse. It's just that your duties and responsibilities as a provider overshadow and are the priority when it comes to managing your patient and patients. It all depends on where you go, what setting you're in, what acuity level, so this is a very overgeneralized concept. For me personally, I went from being a bedside ICU nurse of almost 10 years, working in several different facilities in several different environments, to becoming a bedside acute care nurse practitioner working in the ICU. So, I mean, you would think that transition would be fairly smooth. You would think that with my level of experience that it would just be a kind of thing, and it wasn't at all. It was very difficult to change my way of thinking. And it's not just about patient care. It's not just about the analytical things. It's not about anatomy and physiology and memorizing pharmacology and and things like that. It's learning diagnoses, learning the way to think through a problem. And then you are an advanced practice provider, so now you are a leader and you're responsible for managing several people for a singular patient. So instead of me, the bedside nurse, responsible for my small area of care and staying in my lane and managing myself, and depending on what kind of nursing you practice, you could have had an LPN or a nurse's aide. Now you, as an advanced practice provider, and I'll use my example, as an NP, I have to manage an entire ICU of 12 to 15 patients. Now, co-manage. Now, let me get that straight. I'm not doing this all by myself. I have my physician partners who I collaborate with. But I do the majority of my own work every day. That's it's a conversation for another time. But I'm responsible for the care for every patient. And I have to corral and manage, supervise, and coordinate the services of all the things that are happening to my patient, in not just nursing, not just the medicine and the provider aspect of it, but the coordination of care between inpatient and outpatient, discharging, and how we're going to manage that. Pharmacology, working with the pharmacist, working with nutrition, working with physical therapy, occupational therapy, coming up with a plan of care that solves problems, one problem at a time, so that I can get my patient from being in the ICU to being out of the ICU. That's literally what I do every day. Horribly minimizing and summarizing, but that's the gist of it. And the transition from experienced to inexperienced messes with your brain. Like they don't warn you about that part. They're like, it messes with your psyche. It messes with your confidence in ways that just chops you off at the knees. Going from seeing a problem and as the experienced RN working at the bedside to go, yep, I'm going to do that because of this, because of that, because I've done this, and I'm going to do that because I know this. Boom, 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 moving on. As a nurse practitioner, you have to take the umbrella and fan it out a little bit farther, and you can't even get past step one, let alone solve the problem. And everybody's looking at you for answers. And it's a bit of a blow to the ego to go from, let me tell you the answer, let me help you, to having the deer in headlights look, somebody help! I think that's the biggest challenge, is the blow to the ego. You got to be willing to accept and be vulnerable to the idea of you just don't know it and someone has to help you. You are going to have a lot of people hold your hand during those formative years. Get used to it.